Hey, what's going on everyone? Today I've got a new tutorial for you guys on how to have no bloom in Fortnite. And this is going to be more controversial than most of my other tutorials. And I wouldn't be surprised if Epic eventually ends up nerfing this, but I decided to share it because one, I'm not a huge fan of the shooting model right now, and two, I do enjoy kind of skill-based mechanics that are quote-unquote exploits, such as B-hopping or double pumping if it were balanced, of course. Anyway, I found this technique while messing around with Cnnr's idea of shooting an AR, switching to a weapon, and then back to your AR, or a pickaxe even works as well, so like something like this, right? What I ended up figuring out is if you pull out a build, and it doesn't matter what build, in between changing weapons, it will actually let you first shot accuracy the second that you could actually shoot the gun. So if I hold down mouse 1 and switch from a hunting rifle to the other one, it's pretty quick, but it still shoots before I first shot accuracy. Like, it locks into first shot accuracy pretty quick here. But if I switch to a build in between, it's basically instantaneous. And so with the deagle, it takes a little bit longer to pull out, but when I switch between builds, first shot accuracy goes a lot quicker. So that's the basic idea behind it. You're going to want to pick a build that you're really comfortable with, and I ended up favoring my walls and my stairs, and I'd imagine that's because those are the two I use the most. It also could have to do with the fact that they're on my mouse, whereas I'm switching weapons with my left hand, and if I also had to pull out a build in between there, it'd be kind of a lot to think about doing with your left hand, but I'm sure you can do that as well. At the end of the day, it's all personal preference, so I'd recommend just experimenting with all the build options and deciding which ones you like the most. But anyway, let's get into the mechanics of this. It's a really simple concept, but it does take some practice to get down while you're aiming as well. So I'll walk you guys through that really slowly. You're going to need to be holding down right mouse button or left trigger, I think, the whole time while you do this. And so what you'll do is shoot your first weapon that you're on, switch to your build, whatever you prefer, and then back to your other weapon, and it will instantly first shot. I'm not positive if it works as well when you do it that slow, but when you do it full speed, it is really fast, and that should look something like this. The biggest problem you'll have is holding down mouse 1 or trigger for too long, and in that case you'll end up placing your build like this. And so to counter that, you need to just make sure that you're tapping mouse 1 or trigger and kind of like distinctly doing that before you actually pull out the build. And so it just needs to be a rhythm in between mouse 1, build, and the other weapon, right? It's normal for it to take a while for your muscle memory to kick in there. It took me about an hour yesterday to get it dialed in where I wasn't messing up. But even if you can't get to the point where you're able to do this consistently while not placing a build, another application, and maybe one of the best applications, would be in scrims. Let's say you're based up and you have the luxury to be standing still like this. This is going to kind of go against what I said earlier about picking whatever build you want. If you can learn how to do this with the wall, then you're able to kind of do it without placing anything, right? See, like I messed up there at the end, but the wall didn't end up placing. But if you end up using pyramids, stairs, or flats, you're going to end up placing something there. There's a number of different peaks that will end up working with this without compromising, like putting down or using up your mats rather. So you guys can just play around with that. Keep in mind that like if you do something like this and you do end up looking too far one way or the other, then it can mess you up. So I do recommend trying to get the timing down where you can just switch without placing builds. I think the most reasonable loadout is going to be deagle and AK combo, just because you're not going to want to run double deagle, although it might be fun. But anyway, you guys can just mess around with what you like the most. But I definitely think deagle AK will be the most viable. One thing to keep in mind is they have different switch times, so getting the pattern down of switching them is going to take a little bit more effort if you want to do it fast paced, but you can really end up getting a lot of damage in quickly. Anyway, that's going to be just about it for today. I'm going to end off the video with a couple scenarios where this might be useful, and I hope you guys realize I'm not just trying to find exploits that break the game. I'm just kind of trying to shed some light on something that actually is in the game and could be useful to you as well. But that's up for you guys to decide. So yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one. Peace.